Good morning, grade 8 students, and welcome to the biology class. At the end of this video, you will be able to explain how the specific immune response is triggered, infer that the T lymphocytes are involved in the cell-mediated specific immune response, and list the characteristics of the second immune response. Once pathogens escape from the first line of defense, which is the natural barrier. Remember, natural barriers like tears, saliva, skin, and cilia. The second line of defense, which is the first line of immune response, tries to interfere, where the leukocytes are activated to fight pathogen during inflammatory reaction, and where phagocytosis occurs to destroy pathogens. But the phagocytosis process cannot always avoid the pathogen infection. That's why the third line of defense, mean the second line of immune response, intervenes where T helper cells are activated. Each T helper lymphocyte recognizes specifically one kind of pathogen, and that because each T cell receptor fits with its complementary antigen like a key and a lock. So we must have complementarity between the T cell receptor and the antigen in order to fit together. Please pay attention that T cells are responsible only to recognize the pathogens and don't destroy them, mean they only identify and bind to them. So the question raised now, which cells are going to kill the pathogen in the third line of defense of the body? The second immune response we are talking about. What comes after the activation of T helper cell? Let us recall together what are the different types of lymphocytes. Lymphocytes consist of B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. T lymphocytes made up of two types, T helper lymphocytes and T killer lymphocytes. In this video, we will concentrate in the activation of T killer lymphocytes. Once T helper cell binds to the infected cell by its receptor, it will release chemicals. These chemicals will activate other cells, such as T killer cell or B cell. In some cases, it will activate both T killer cell and also B cell. Now we will concentrate in the activation of T killer cell. Once pathogen enters the normal cell, it will transform it into infected cell. Infected cell, like the macrophage, present on its membrane the antigen of the pathogen. So the T killer cell now is able to recognize this antigen, and once there is complementarity between the receptor and the antigen, they will fit together. Once binding occurs, T killer cell releases chemicals that kill and eliminate the pathogen, mean the infected cell. To understand more how T killer cell kill the pathogen, please concentrate in the following slide. Here we have infected cell and T killer cell. In the membrane of the T killer cell, there is of course T cell receptor, and in the membrane of the infected cell, there will be the fragments of the antigen. Due to the complementarity between the T cell receptor and the antigen, both of them will fit together, and this will be the first step. After that, the chemicals inside the T killer cell will be released, causing the burst of the infected cell. And at the end, the infected cell lyses. The question raised now, what is the type of this immune response? Can we say it is a specific or non-specific immune response? Great! Of course it will be specific, since we must have complementarity between the T cell receptor and the antigen of the pathogen in order to fit together. Now, what do we call this response that involves the activation of T killer cells? It's called cell-mediated specific immune response. One can ask himself, why the name cell-mediated? It's relative to what? Simply because this response involve the activation of T killer cell. Because of that, we say it is cell-mediated specific immune response. Specific, we repeat again, since the T killer cell work against specific pathogen. Let us now mention what are the characteristics of the third line of defense, mean the second line of immune response. 1. It's slow. It needs more time to occur than inflammatory reaction, since it needs time to recognize the pathogen by the T helper cell. Second, it's efficient, where after it recognizes specific pathogen, it will destroy it. 3. Not local. Occurs in all the body, not only where the injured or infected area present. It occurs whenever there is infected cells in the body. And the last one, specific, where it recognizes only one kind of pathogen. We repeat, we must have complementarity between the T cell receptor and the antigen of the pathogen. As an application, we have this specific T killer cell, and we have 3 cells present in this table. We want to see which of the following will fit with this specific T killer cell. Remember that each T killer cell present on its membrane is a specific receptor. Here we have a triangular receptor, and of course the infected cell will present on its membrane a specific antigen. Let us see now which of these cells will be destroyed by this specific T killer cell. We'll start with the first one. This infected cell present on its membrane a triangular antigen. So there is complementarity between the T cell receptor and this antigen, which will cause them to bind together, and thus this infected cell will be destroyed. The second one, it's non-infected cell. Because it's non-infected, so nothing to be present on its membrane. Thus, nothing to fit with this T killer cell, so of course it will not be destroyed. The last one, present on its membrane, a circular antigen. If we look carefully, there is no complementarity between this antigen with this specific receptor. So of course they will not bind together, and thus this infected cell will not be destroyed by this specific T killer cell. As a summary, we can say the following. Specific immune response is a response that is directed specifically toward a specific kind of pathogen. The roles of T helper cell are 1. Recognizing the antigen by binding to it specifically by its receptors, and second one, activating B lymphocyte or T killer cells by secreting chemicals. Remember that in some cases it will activate both B lymphocytes and T killer cells. The steps followed by T killer cells to destruct a pathogen are 1. T killer cell binds to the infected cell. Second, T killer cell releases chemicals that burst the infected cell. And at the end, infected cell lyses. Once the T killer cell intervenes in an immune response, the type of the immune response is called cell-mediated specific immune response. Very important to know that T killer cell eliminate infected cell caused by a virus, infected cell caused by bacterium, and also cancer cell. At the end, I want to thank you, dear students, for your attention.